Welcome to the network, the educational podcast designed to help our community navigate the four areas of life that I like to call the funky four corners. I've had the opportunity to interview some of my favorite people with one goal in mind: to help the spiritual, physical, mental, and financial health of our people as we navigate this thing called life. Subscribe to the network. You never know, you might need it. Listen, in the words of the great American poet Erica Wright, if you don't know who that is, Erykah Badu. That's who that is. So in the words of that great American poet, peace and blessings manifest with every lesson learned. If your knowledge were your wealth, then it would be well earned. If we were made in his image, then call us by our names. Most intellects don't believe in God, but they fear us just the same. Y'all know the song, On and On. This is the network, the educational podcast designed to help our community navigate spiritually, physically, mentally, and financially. I'm your host. My name is Michael Prejean. That's my government name. Today in the Funky Four Podcast Studios, we've got a powerful and creative voice in the wellness space, Megan DJ Purple Smoke Patterson. She is a Houston-based DJ, sound healer, and the founder of Higher Frequency 432, or is it 432, Sound and Wellness, blending chopped, not slopped culture with meditation, healing, and intentional sound to help people regulate their nervous system, reconnect with themselves, and elevate their lives through higher frequency. So, with your real hands and with your virtual hands, I need you to welcome into the network Megan DJ Purple Smoke Patterson.
Thank you. Happy to be here, for sure.
I'm so glad that you are here with us today. So listen, before we get into everything that you're building now, I want you to take me to a moment that you realized that your life was going in a different direction than you expected. So tell us what happened and what that moment did to you internally.
Okay. So that particular moment for me, that was very, life-changing and life-defining. This was 2017. I was working in, IT for the number one retailer in the world. And I was a quality engineer and software engineer, kind of split. So very high demand, very high stress, all the things. Like you don't get a lot of sleep. It kind of creates some PTSD, because you're on call as well. So you really didn't get a lot of sleep. So I was in that, in that position, and I decided to go to this annual festival in Southern Arkansas. And there was this mass shooting. So I am a mass shooting survivor. The person I was with did get hit, but we can, cross that line later. But at that point, I recognized my nervous system and how much everything just kind of built up, from my job to what was happening in that event to just that moment of being in freeze or flight. It taught me so much about how I was already regulating my nervous system or not regulating my nervous system. And that was the biggest life-defining moment for me as to why I've stepped into the passion that I now have in my career. So it's has a kind of a little traumatic bond situation. It stemmed from there, but ultimately, I've been able to cultivate a community and a lifestyle that I feel I'm able to help others, especially POCs. So that's what got me into it. That's what changed.
Okay, so definitely a traumatic experience. I hate that you had to experience that. I hate that the person that you were with had a different experience, a terrible experience.
Right.
So what did you have to unlearn in that season?
I had to unlearn almost everything. I feel like I had to start from scratch, more so internally. I had to unlearn that strength looks different.
Mhm,
Strength doesn't
mhm.
necessarily mean strong. I feel like
That's good.
culturally that's something that we think strength always means strong, and that's not the case. Sometimes strength is knowing certain things to do, like in the flight or freeze. You never know until you're in that position. Until you're in that position. So I think that's one thing that taught me. Sometimes knowledge is strength. And then let's see, what else did I have to unlearn? I had to unlearn the sources I was depending on,
Mhm.
and because I grew up, my family, like those were my sources, just the people closest to me were my sources, but it catapulted me into a God connection. I was always, I always had my strength. I mean, my spiritual journey, my faith. I grew up Baptist slash Kojic, but yeah, it definitely strengthened that connection. It taught me to not rely on my own strength. Definitely.
Okay, that is good. I'm super excited about where we're going today. But before we dive into today's topic, who are you giving flowers while they can still smell them, and why?
Okay, so this is something I think about quite often, um, because I feel like as I evolve, I feel like I have a clearer understanding of, who is deserving of those flowers. So first off, I would like to thank God. God first and foremost, He gets all the flowers. Um, if He allows me to give some more flowers, then I would give flowers to. Secondly, I would say definitely myself. Myself. My journey has been very unique. It has been a very me and God journey. So I don't want to discount or discredit the work that I've had to put in to be here, and that's with and without support. And let's see, I would like to give flowers to, I would say, my parents, in a sense of the musical aspect and the musical direction that I kind of grew from, and was raised on, and everything that heavily impacts the music that I do listen to now. As a DJ, I listen to everything, but my roots and what my parents put me on, yeah, definitely helped with that diversity and that range. Um, and my I would say my partner, for sure. Uh, Beautiful person. My rock, for real. Because yeah, life has been lifing. So uh, yeah,
Yeah.
and my
So
my grandma, my grandma, for sure.
one of the things that I absolutely love about your flowers is that you gave yourself flowers, right? Because you were like, listen, I put the work in too. And listen, that faith without works is dead, right?
Period.
So I love that you recognize yourself. So what did it take for you to learn to give yourself flowers?
I had to unlearn people pleasing, to be honest. Like, yeah, growing up, I was definitely that kid that loved to make people smile, loved to see people happy, loved to uplift people. So it got to a point where I was like, who's doing that for me? Where can I get that reciprocal energy? So I was learning that I was pouring way too much into other buckets and not pouring into my own as nearly as much as I thought I was. I thought I was, but I found out that I wasn't. And I'd be depleted, I'd be drained, and I'd be asking the questions of why. Why am I so, like, what am I giving to myself? And it was bare minimum. So yeah, definitely had to start pouring back into me after
Okay,
unlearning.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the meat and potatoes right here. So you are blending DJ culture
Mhm.
sound healing, and meditation,
I
right?
am.
So for a lot of people, that may sound like completely different worlds, right?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
um, first is the how. How do
Mhm.
you bridge those spaces? And
Mhm.
then second is the what. What made you bridge those spaces, right? So actually, we could probably flip it. So, what made you bridge those spaces, and then how?
So the what? So again, growing up, I was very heavily introduced to, like trap culture, to I would say reggae for sure. The contempt R&B and Prince. Bob Marley and Prince. Those are my guys. So in regards to the music that I loved, I learned that I loved more so of the that trap culture, or the southern rap, what chopped and screwed, how it made me feel, especially while I was in college. That's mainly when I discovered, chopped and screwed, and my love for it, and how it made me feel. I noticed that I wasn't just listening to music, in college. I was actually like engulfed in the music, and it definitely had a positive impact on my life during those times. So I just kind of fed into that on the music side. I was always into music, but I kind of honed in more on the music that I was interested in as far as the cultural aspect. And then when I transitioned into IT, and had those events happen, there was this guy that came and taught heartfulness, and it was his name was Joshua Pollock, and he was an author of the Heartfulness Way book, along with this guru named Daji at the time from India. Joshua is from the U.S., and he came and shared with us just the transformation that meditation alone has on the spirit, has on the mind, has on the body, and how you can literally work those things out of your system, those traumas out of your system. You can learn to, sit with yourself and be okay. You can learn to be in solitude and be fine. So that really, really resonated with me. And starting 2018, that's when I took, that meditation journey. That's when my meditation journey really, really kicked off. I joined the communities that Heartfulness had. They're, completely donation free, volunteer based. Like there's no payments or anything required. Definitely volunteering. They don't even like to take donations, honestly. So I was like, okay, they're not doing it for the money. You're used to people doing it for the money. They weren't doing it for the money. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. This is different. And then just the meditation style, heartfulness. It's all things coming from the heart. So I knew I was already a giving person. I already knew I was, a genuine person. I like to move from my heart versus logical. I'm very water sign in that way for my water sign people. So connecting with my emotions was the biggest thing, the biggest catalyst for me. So that definitely helped usher, all the positivity that I have. And then going into the sound healing, I actually learned that I picked up that trait later in life, like kind of after I moved to Houston, which was about 3 years ago. And I would, go out into these communities, and I would, I kind of already knew, had a sense of what sound healing was, being from Arkansas, but I really dove into it when I got here. Because just let's say you're in your room and the window's up, it's raining, right, in your bedroom, and you're just listening. That sound healing, it doesn't require tools necessarily, but it's what you hear every day. And I would love to open my window and listen to the birds in the morning. That's how I knew it was going to be a great day. I'd be like, okay, I can hear the birds today. Okay, it's going to be a great day. Things of that nature. So then I kind of dove deeper into sound healing as a science, and sound healing as a spiritual tool. So that's how everything kind of came together. It's really been life experiences for
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
So Um, you talked about the birds, right? So I have a tree in my front yard. The tree is about 15 feet from my front door.
Mm.
And there is a bird who loves to sing or call
Mhm.
his homies or
Yep.
her girlfriends, or I don't know what it is, but that bird
Hmm.
starts at about 3 a.m.
Regular.
So um I need that bird, that's sound healing, right? Because we
Yeah.
hear it.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
hear it. I need that bird to set its alarm to start a little bit later, set that back about 3 hours.
Yeah.
Um, so that's really, really interesting. So for someone who is hearing about sound healing for the first time,
Mhm.
right? Because you talked about the natural occurring sounds, right? You talked about the rain. You
Mhm.
talked about the birds singing. So what is actually happening in that experience of sound healing? What's actually going on?
So with sound healing, I would say we'll start with more as a science. You have, your nervous system, but you have a parasympathetic nervous system. I want to make sure I'm saying the word right. And, anyone correct me if I'm not. Um, but this particular side of the nervous system is what goes into, the feed and breathe stage, or the rest and digest stage. So ultimately your ability to rest. So what sound healing really does is it uses vibroacoustics, which vibroacoustics is just, like I said, the birds singing, the sound of the rain, the acoustics, the sounds coming from those natural elements, or from sound bowls, which is what I use as tools. And it takes those and it kind of harmonizes the body. The vibrations harmonize the body. So when you're in, the super frantic state, when your nervous system is not, regulated, or you're feeling overly stressed, overly anything, really, because you always want that state of balance. Sound healing is a way to bring that body and that nervous system back to calm, back to rest. So it's going straight towards that particular side of the nervous system, to to ease the self and ease the DNA and everything like that. And it even does DNA like cellular repair, reduces, blood pressure. It has some incredible benefits.
Okay, okay. And you kind of bridged where I wanted to kind of start moving into next. So, because my next question was, the frequency, the regulation of the nerve system. So my question was going to be, how does that impact our bodies in ways that we don't realize? But you mentioned the lowering of blood pressure. What other things are being impacted in our bodies through the sound healing, the regulation, that we may not realize?
Right. So when I was diving deeper into this, research, shows that, like in particular, the African American community, we tend to deal with, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes, things of that nature, and that's actually what uh, inspired me to create a business, because I started wanting to help, people of color that were dealing with, those things, cancer included. My family members, cancer, diabetes, things of that nature. So I wanted to be able to help them. So when it comes to like sound frequencies, and what it does is, the earth is naturally tuned to 432 hertz. And this is also where, my business name comes from. But the earth is naturally tuned to 432 hertz, which within, so is the body, so the heart specifically. Now when you take that and you apply, later as you're, growing up or going through life, there are things that mess with that frequency, either highering or lowering it. It could be the way you were raised, stressful environments, work, all these things. So they kind of tip off that scale. So what you want to do is you want to use frequency music. If you've heard of binaural beats, that's really great. Lo-fi also helps, but the sound that you do here to kind of realign the body, that's why outdoor tools are so important. That's why I did bring those up at first, is because those elements are naturally attuned to where we're supposed to be attuned to. However, the music we listen to and the life examples that we go through, again, they offset and off balance us. So we use actual sound bowls, which here I have. This would be a Tibetan sound bowl, very small, very simple. But one click of that, and it shakes, literally shakes your DNA into alignment. It it's very cool. It's a very cool science, but it vibrates the body back into alignment. Yeah. So it's pretty awesome to me.
Okay. Okay. I got home yesterday.
Mhm.
I'm in the midst of a reset. I'm in a life reset. Okay. And then so the last few days I've been stressing,
Mhm.
right? So I had a headache yesterday. And I'm telling my wife, I'm like, man, this is the second day in a row I've had a headache. And she's like, you should check your blood pressure. And I'm like, whatever. Right. Because my blood pressure is, I'm very proud. I'm very happy. I'm very grateful and thankful to God that my blood pressure usually is normal, like in the 120s over 70 something. Right. So
Right.
almost close to 50-year-old black man with good blood pressure, man, hallelujah, praise the Lord. So I break down, I check my blood pressure, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And my blood pressure is elevated, right? And I know that it's stress related, right? Because I know I'm in the midst of this, this reset, and there's some things that I wish I was doing right now that right now we're just not there yet, right? So sat down, took my blood pressure, wasn't happy about it. I was like, right.
Mhm.
Woke up this morning. I'm like, let me take it again, right? So I took it again. Still a little elevated. And then I started getting myself ready for my day. I took my time and went through my morning routine, right? So, and I felt myself coming down, right? So sat
Mhm.
down, took my blood pressure again, and while it wasn't back to normal, it had decreased, right? So for somebody who may find themselves where I am, right? You're stressed, you're stressed, you can feel your body responding to your stress levels. Like, is there an app, right? Because you mentioned the body is naturally tuned to 432 hertz, right?
Yes.
So
Mhm.
learn something new today. That is awesome. So is there an app that I can load onto my phone that will help my body? Like you said, you hit that Tibetan bowl and it
Mhm.
literally shakes your body back into alignment. Is there an
Mhm.
app?
So right now, what I just highly recommend is, one, you gotta meditation, man. You gotta get into meditation. So the Heartfulness
Okay.
app, I highly recommend the Heartfulness app. And in regards to sound healing and frequencies, so YouTube University, I know some people,
Yeah. Yeah.
may may not refer to it as that, but YouTube is really a university.
Yes, it
Um,
is.
it is, and regarding frequencies and apps, most of the people like me, spiritualists and things of that nature, we're uploading those things to YouTube. You can get it for free, and honestly, it's just the side, the parts of us that just want to help people. You don't have to pay for it, you know.
Okay,
Usually,
so
mhm.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I was gonna say usually you can find exactly what you need. Like so you can put in stress relief, frequencies for stress relief, and it'll give you exactly what you need.
Okay. Okay. So while you were talking, I was pulling up YouTube on my other screen, and yeah. So there's a page going right now, 432 hertz,
Yeah.
432 hertz frequency heals all body damage, clear negative thoughts. So that one is live right now.
Mhm.
You have a YouTube channel. What's your YouTube channel?
So my YouTube channel is also DJ Purple Smoke.
Okay.
However, I am reconstructing, so I kind of deleted, and we're
Okay.
going into a new phase with my business.
Okay.
So it'll be ramping up within the next month for sure.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
So
So
I can help my people. Yeah,
yes, yes,
yeah,
that listen, we are in the network. We are talking holistic healing with Megan DJ Purple Smoke Patterson. Some good stuff so far. So thank you for everybody who is tuning in. We got a few people on IG that have kind of popped in. For those of you who are listening at a later point or watching at a later point, so go ahead and get on YouTube, find those 432 hertz. So let me ask this, Megan.
Mhm.
So are you on Twitch? Do you do any sets on Twitch?
I am not on Twitch. I've heard that I should get more into Twitch. I know there's a lot
Okay.
of streaming and things like that. Um, so I've mainly been working more so locally, more so with communities. I hadn't
Okay.
really put a lot of my work, on the platforms. But again, that's in the next phase of where I'm taking things. I'm integrating the social media and everything like that. I just hadn't prior because I was more focused on localized and travel based kind of help, hands on
Okay.
help for sure.
Okay. Here's my next question. So if
Hmm.
432 hertz is gonna get me right,
Right.
what what is the music that we are listening to that completely throws us off? You don't have to,
Yeah.
you can say because this is going to be on the World Wide Web. So we don't
Right.
necessarily want to call out any particular artist or a
Nah.
particular song, but what is, something that we should avoid because it's going to shake us up?
So I would say this is a very controversial.
So, for example,
Yeah.
I was a teacher,
Okay. Okay.
and sometimes you got to tackle the day. The kids gonna come in,
Yeah.
not only is it like a Friday the 13th, but it's also a full moon. And I don't
Hmm.
care what anybody says, those kids are coming in on something else
Of course.
when that happens.
Of
I
course.
don't listen. I've lived it, I've experienced it. So I'm like, I got to get my mind right.
Hmm.
And I'm driving to work and I got a club banger on because I'm like, this is the kind of energy I need to get through the day. Is
Hmm.
that actually helpful?
That banger, if it is uplifting you, it is helpful. If it makes you feel in a like get in a more positive state versus a violent state, or versus getting into something you really just shouldn't be getting into, then most likely you are okay. It's when you get more into the I would say the more so the intense emotions. And I'm not saying any particular genre of music is just bad. Like I like I said, I love trap music that might have the worst lyrics. Like it might have the lyrics that absolutely don't align with me, but I love it. Like I like to get hyped too. I'm still a DJ. I'm still a DJ. I still like a great turn time. Um, but I would say
Okay.
anything that kind of brings you down morally, anything that kind of, just keeps you too far in your head, if you're in your head way too much, or that makes you your emotions in balance. Because listening, let's say listening to too many sad songs,
Mhm.
that alone can kind of decrease the frequency that you're on. If you're listening to, again, stuff that don't align with who you are as a person, that can also, now if you bumping and this making you feel good, you're okay.
Okay,
You're
so all right, that's good stuff. So if you
yeah.
need it
Hmm.
to energize you for the day, it's okay.
Yeah. You're
But
fine.
if it's gonna make you cuss everybody at the workplace out and kick all the trash cans over on the way out, then probably not.
Exactly,
You got to know
exactly.
when to change frequencies.
You gotta know when to change. You know.
Okay. Okay. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. You are here in the network. I'm your host. My name is Michael Prejean. We have Megan DJ Purple Smoke Patterson in the house. So you mentioned uh that this work is very intentional with
Mhm.
POCs. If you don't know what a POC is, that's a person with melanin, right? So for melanated people, people of color, right? So why is this work so, and you touched on it a little bit earlier, but I want you to just go a little deeper here. Why is this work so especially vitally important for our community right now?
There's many reasons, but I'll go into a few of them. So for our people, our culture right now, we're living in a time where you know things aren't equal. I mean, things haven't been equal for us. Um, and even going back to slavery and so on and so forth, even the food we eat stemming from those roots, even the music that we do sing, all of those things, like what has created us, that survival mode, things of that nature. It's very important for us to dive deeper into ourselves. And we're at the place where, unfortunately, we have to make changes for ourselves. We have to um, find the tools for ourselves. We've learned they're not going to give it to us. We've learned they're not going to equal the playing field. We've learned all these things. We've been shown all these things time and time and time again. So it's up to us to find the medicine. It's up to us to, incorporate intentionally that medicine. And a few things that we deal with more than any other communities: heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure. High blood pressure, I believe we were in the 41% African Americans, 41%. And that's, then none African Americans. When it comes to the high blood pressure, we're 206 to 166 of non African Americans. So we experience way more health issues than a lot of our counterparts, and we've kind of we continue that, we pass that down, we pass down the things we don't have the best access to, one being food, just basic needs. We'll start with food. Usually, they always say the healthier foods are the ones that cost the most, but are also not, we don't have access to those healthier sides of things. So that's why this work is very, very, very important. Very important. We want generations going forward to know that, hey, I have access to tools just like my counterparts. There is a way for me to kind of equal out that playing field for myself, even if I can't get my uncle, my great uncle, my great grandpa, because usually, when they're a little bit older, uh, they tend to like what they like, and they like what they like, and it's again, it's just been a passed down cultural thing. So I think it's time for us to get out of survival mode. Like that's really the catapult here, getting out of survival mode for our culture.
That is so good. So the last episode that I recorded with Professor Michael Ayers, one of the things that I talked about, that I asked him about, was, how do we, well, let me say, how do I,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a former social studies teacher, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, which, history, current events, those are things that I've always kept up with, right? I'm a man of faith as well. So we look at history, we look at current events, and then you're a person of faith. And you're black,
Right.
right? And you're black. So it's like, okay, how do I not lose my cool? How do I not lose my religion and everything else in this
Right.
current environment? And what you said is so important. You said, listen, because you alluded to all of those things, right? You talked about the blood pressure. Um,
Hmm.
so in a world, and I'm gonna just speak very candidly, in a world that is trying to kill us,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
We don't have access to the foods, right? They're, black and brown communities, people on the lower socioeconomic scale, they live in food deserts, right? So you said we have to find our own medicine. And I'm so glad that you are here, because one of the things that you are doing in this episode is you're telling people about the medicine. And it's
Right.
as simple as listening to the birds, opening your window,
Hmm.
going to YouTube University and putting in, in the search query, healing sounds. Put in things like 432 hertz, right? Because that's what your body is naturally tuned to. All right, everybody, listen. So before we jump to the next segment, this is where I need to take a moment and ask you to support the network, help us continue to grow this community. If you're watching on YouTube, I need you to hit that like button, subscribe, turn on the notifications so you never miss an episode. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, give us that 5-star review. It helps us reach even more people who need these conversations. Follow us on IG at podcast underscore with Prejean. Let me see if I can get it on your screen real quick. There it is right there, scrolling down there at the bottom, right? So tell a friend to tell a friend. That's how we strengthen the network together. So you mentioned that you are DJing.
Hmm.
So when is the next set? If somebody watching and listening wants to
Hmm.
catch you live, where can we catch you live?
So in 2 weeks, I'll be at the Eastern Glades. It's a local outdoor kind of venue here in
Okay.
Houston, and it's the Clay Eastern Family Glades, I believe, or I could be like mixing the words. My apologies,
Okay.
but yeah, 2 weeks I will be out there. I will be showcasing the entirety of what I really do. That's going to include the DJing. That's going to include the sound healing. That's going to include the meditation, and I'll show you, how it all comes together and
Okay.
how it's a vibe. We tune in, then we turn up. Like it's a
It's a
vibe.
vibe.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. So Professor Ayers is actually watching right now on IG. So he says he likes this topic. So good stuff. Professor Ayers, man, appreciate you tuning in.
Yeah.
Professor Ayers is one of my longtime mentors. I've actually known this brother for about 25 years, actually over 25 years. Has always been a big brother to me. Okay, so um South by Southwest.
Yeah, yeah.
Talk about South by Southwest. Talk about you and South by Southwest.
Me and South by Southwest. So this is the second year that I was able to, go to South by Southwest as an official artist. I went with DJ organization, the Chop Stars, which is a historic legacy in Houston. If you know, most people know DJ Screw. If you're in Houston, you know DJ Screw. It's a branch off of DJ Screw's legacy, created by OG Run C, which is another DJ, and he basically started an organization for DJs, that were deep in the culture, deep in the Southern rap culture, deep in the chopped and screwed culture. So that's kind of the baseline. And yeah, this year I made my second appearance as an official artist. We had two events, which we also had, I believe, the previous year as well. It might have been three. Um, so It's it was a great time. It was a great time. The highlights for me, above, the performancing and and everything like that. Not performancing, but performing
Mhm.
performances. Um, the highlights for me was honestly the connections I made. You go there, as an artist, you go there to do your thing. However, you get so much more out of it. From the conference side of things, I got to
Mhm.
see Russ, and he gave a tremendous speech about being delusional about your passion until you make it.
Yeah.
And I got to see this super fire chick named Neptune 21, and if you watch Bel Air, Ali Shelton, the guy that plays Carlton, I got
Mhm.
to see him do his thing. It was his first time there, performing,
Okay.
and it
Okay.
was really cool. Let me see the guy that plays Jeffrey. Like I got to meet him. Like it's honestly the highlights for me was just the connecting and seeing the variety of people that I'm like, hey, we can collab one day. We can create, something that really shakes the world. And I think when I go
Okay.
out to these places, that's what I look for.
Okay.
Ways, yeah, that I can make an impact with other creatives for sure.
Official artist at South by Southwest, second year in a row. For if those of you watching or listening, if you don't know anything about South by Southwest, go and look it up. Right, it's a
Yeah.
huge, huge, huge event. Okay, so 2 weeks in 2 weeks at the Clay Family Eastern Glades. That is a 100-acre addition to Houston's Memorial Park. So make sure, what's the exact date?
The exact date is, let me see, second Saturdays. Second
Second Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah, let
All
me
right.
go
Second
see.
Saturdays at the Clay Family Eastern Glades. That's an addition to Houston Memorial Park. So you will get the opportunity to get the whole shebang,
Yeah,
right? You get a
DLF.
chance to watch DJ Purple Smoke put it all together. It's on my calendar. I already put it on my calendar. Okay, so let's jump into what I like to call the Funky Four Corners. This is actually the cornerstone
Okay.
of this podcast. So we like to help people spiritually, physically, mentally, and financially. So let's kind of dive in here. So spiritually, you shared two pieces of advice. You said never let anything change your heart,
Mm-hmm.
and you said follow your heart. So in a world, and you just kind of alluded to this, in a world that can harden people,
Mm-hmm.
how do you
Mm-hmm.
protect your heart without becoming naive?
So what I've learned in this journey that life can be really, really, really cruel. Life can take you through some things. It can also be beautiful, but right now, life life is taking us on a roller coaster. From the presidential office to just pay not even being equal. Things that just naturally stress you out. Um, so, oh man, how let's see, follow your heart and never let anything change your heart. Be who you are. Be who you are. I'm gonna say that. Whether it's a good day, be who you are. Whether it's a bad day, be who you are. And I say that because when you do things from your heart, although we're going through the midst of all the turmoil and everything, things still kind of work out for you. Good
Yeah.
things still come to you. Now, when you allow it to kind of shake and shift you and get you to that bitter place, okay, it's going to seem like it's getting worse, and it's going to be more stressful than it is positive. So I say, lead with your heart, an example of, just stay true to you. Stay
Yeah.
true to you. Things will work out for you. God got you. God really does have you.
Yeah.
Um,
And so
mhm.
when you find yourself shaken,
Right.
get back to
430,
432.
432.
Get back to 432. That's really, 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 really good. All right, let's talk about the physical corner. You said simple, something simple, but
Mhm.
when done consistently, very, very powerful. And you said always move,
Mhm. Mhm.
always move. So for the people in our community dealing with health risks, uh, what type of movement would you recommend they start with that can, get them moving, get them back aligned, and it also will not overwhelm them?
Dance, dancing. Like you don't have to do any rigorous dancing. You don't have to twerk. Everybody doesn't twerk, you know. But honestly, just standing up, getting on your feet if you're able, and just moving. Even if even if you're not able, still moving that upper part of your body. And it's one of those energy moves with you. Usually, when we, as a culture, due to the things we eat, we gain weight really fast. We're usually, like what they say, big bone. I have big bone. People in my family, like we're thick. We're naturally thick. You know what I mean? So things naturally like tack on to us. However, if you're moving, then those things can work themselves out and through the body. A lot of times we gain because we're not moving. We're stagnant. We sit. We eat more than we get up. Um, but yeah, it's really you can have fun. Dancing. Just put on your favorite vibes. Put on your favorite vibes, and yeah, just move even a little bit. It makes a world of difference. A world of difference.
Okay, that's good, man. Just dance.
It is
Just
dance.
that. That's
Nobody have to be there.
right. And I love that because number one, it perfectly aligns
Hmm.
with what we talk about here at the network.
Hmm.
A former guest who I'm looking to bring back in June. So DJ Champ lifestyle. I'm coming back because I want to get you here in June. DJ Purple Smoke, I would like to have you back in June as well because June is
Okay.
Black Music Month, right?
Hmm.
So she's a former dancer. Her name's Chandra Hampton. She's in DC, located in DC. We went to college together. She was an award-winning dancer, um,
Nice.
conquered breast cancer,
Nice.
and but while she was going through treatment, she picked up DJing and
Mm-hmm.
now has DJ'd in different parts of the world.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so I love that because dancing is so simple.
Hmm.
It's such a simple thing, and everybody can do it, and it's not overwhelming. Okay, love that, love that. We're in the network. I'm Michael Prejean. This is Megan, DJ Purple Smoke Hamilton. We're talking all things holistic health. We're talking 432 hertz. We're talking getting you back in line. All right, let's talk about mentally.
Okay.
So you mentioned, in your questionnaire that you had some struggles with comparison and people pleasing, right?
Hmm.
Especially in the industry that you're in.
Hmm.
So mentally, what has helped you quiet the noise?
So what's helping me quiet the noise? Honestly, meditation. If meditation and being outside. I'll start with the outside part. I love to just be outdoors. Like I will go to a park and just sit, and it's because we can stay indoors and feel start to feel trapped. Your natural body doesn't even like to be indoors for too long. Like you need some sun, all of those things. So that's one aspect. And meditation allows me to literally quiet the noise. It allows me to be more introspective. Even when things are going on around me, I'm able to be still and be one with myself. And all you really have to do is you just sit there. You just sit there. It could be for as little as 5 minutes, but that peace and that time is something you give to yourself. You know what I mean? And with families and everything, there's always things going around you. There's
Yeah.
always things going around you. So yeah, it's really about taking that moment for yourself.
Okay, so um hopefully you don't hear all this noise outside my window. Uh in that meditation, so because you also mentioned isolation, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
You went through periods of isolations where God isolated you. and you learned more about yourself. In those moments of isolation, were you practicing meditation?
I was. And I also saw talking to God as another form of meditation as well. They say when you pray, you talk to God, but when you meditate, God talks to you,
Mhm.
because you're creating that stillness that He needs to be able to connect with you. And you're not on the go, you're creating that time and that separation. So that was really, really instrumental for me, especially before I moved to Houston. God sat me down. We purged. I had to purge some family. I had to purge some friends. I had to purge a lifestyle, as I got into this more so healthier one or more higher frequency one.
Mhm. Mhm.
And yeah, God isolates me a lot to make sure I hear Him.
That's
And
good.
yeah, for sure.
That's really, really good. So meditate, meditate, meditate. Uh,
Solitude
I'm
is not bad. It's
Solitude is not bad. Solitude
solitude
is
is
not bad. I'm thinking of the J. Cole lyric.
mm-hmm.
Um, and he's talking about his friends. As a matter of fact, I think that might be the name of the song, right?
Mm-hmm. I
And he
really,
says, I know of a better way, meditate.
mm-hmm.
And he's
Mm-hmm.
talking, he's talking about his, drug use, right? Drug
Yeah.
use to kind of, find that solitude. But he
Mm-hmm.
specifically says, I know of a better way. Meditate. All right, let's talk about this money. Let's talk about this financial corner. So
Okay.
I love, love, love this. You talked about this guy's right next to my window.
No worries.
You talked about tithing
Mm-hmm.
being
Yeah.
directly connected to how your life flows financially.
Yes.
How did your relationship with money evolve as your faith deepened?
Phew. So I am a big, big, big believer in tithing. And this honestly, it's not even about the amount that you give. You like to do that, the 10%. That's at minimum, but um, it's about giving. Honestly, just giving back to God. God gives us so much. He gives us life. He gives us our dwellings. He gives us the food. He gives us the resources. Regardless of what how man tries to come in and deter all those things, God is still providing. God still gives, and it's one of those. It's like you want to say thank you. You want to just give back to God. So I started to notice just via experience that when I skipped tithing, I would find myself in financial situations that I didn't even have to be in. I would find that my pockets would drain way faster when I was not tithing. And it was one of those, I was like, okay, let me be more observant. Let me be more intentional about what is really happening. And when you are too tight with your money, when you hold on to it too tight, and don't give uh, that portion to God, things happen. Things happen, and I'd rather be on God's side. Honestly, I'd rather keep the well flowing. You have to keep the well flowing because money is energetic as well. So it's like what you put out, you get back tenfold, tenfold in the Bible. So yeah, the more I did tithe, I my money started to increase. No lie, no lie. And then I was able to tithe a little more, and a little more. At first, I was like, okay, I don't even have it to tithe. Like
Yeah.
I would get in those positions where I didn't even have it to tithe. But what I did was, if I had some change, in the car or something like that, I gave that. I
Yeah.
did. I If I needed to ask for a dollar or something, like I did that, and I wasn't too proud to do it. It didn't feel good, but eventually it got me out of that place because he just wants to know you trust him. He just wants to know you trust him.
You are hitting so many spiritual truths
Mhm.
as we move forward, because like just right there, you said, listen, if I had some change to give, I gave it.
Mhm.
And then you followed up and said it didn't feel good. So you're literally talking about sacrifice.
Yes.
You're like,
Yes.
listen, I didn't have, but I gave the little bit I did have, and that didn't feel good. And that's the sacrifice, right? And you've been faithful in that,
Mm-hmm.
right? You've been
Mm-hmm.
faithful in that. So you are like, you are a living testament, right? You're a walking Bible.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you are. You're a walking Bible because you're talking about the principles that you live by. You're giving examples of how you have walked them out, and you're talking about the results,
Yep.
right? So for
Mm-hmm.
anybody who is like, ah, man, I don't know about that tithing thing. Well, listen,
Right.
you do you. DJ
Yeah.
Purple Smoke is saying, this is what I do, and it works for me. So you talked about if you try to hold on to it, you even talked about that, right? So
Yeah.
for people who may be feeling stuck financially,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
what mind shift matters more than the income, right? So what needs to change up here
Mm-hmm.
so that they can get themselves unstuck?
I would say change your source, because this is something that I've talked to quite a few people, and I've noticed kind of like this commonality is the source. We think, or we perceive, our source as being our jobs. We perceive our source as being our parents, and so on and so forth. Your source is God. Your source is God. And if you make that switch, it'll align you to, okay, well, let me give to God first. He gave to me, let me give to God first. Then you give to yourself, and then everything else kind of falls in line. But it's recognizing the true source. Um, Even the promotions on your job, they don't come from your bosses, they come from God. Like, so I think if you just make that switch, oh yeah, you're gold. You golden.
Come on, somebody.
Yeah.
Listen, you have already been educated so much in this episode, and we got a little bit more to go. So thank you for those who are tuning in, watching, listening. You are being inundated with truths and gems. Okay, Megan, play a game with me.
Okay.
All right. So this is rapid fire. I don't want you to think about it too hard. Um, Imagine you're in the booth and the crowd is rocking, and you know exactly what you need to drop next to keep them going. That's how I want you to answer these questions. All right. So this first little part is either or. You ready?
Okay. Okay.
All right. Here we go. Studio session or live crowd?
Live crowd.
Morning meditation or late night creativity?
Ooh, morning meditation.
Faith or discipline?
Faith.
Healing alone or healing in community?
Community.
Chopped, not slopped, or original tempo?
Chop for sure.
Okay. Headphones or speakers?
Ooh, this is my pause. You said not to think about it too much. I like headphones.
Okay. Okay. Agree or disagree? Agree or disagree? Healing requires isolation.
Agree.
Your environment shapes your frequency.
Agree.
Most people are disconnected from themselves.
Agree.
Um, you have to unlearn in order to grow.
Agree.
Okay, let's hit some word association. Word association. First thing that comes to mind. All right, here's the first word: frequency.
432.
Healing.
Sound.
Houston.
Ooh, culture.
Arkansas.
Nature.
Ancestors.
Wisdom.
Faith.
God.
Sound
Healing.
and alignment.
Hmm. 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 That one touches on so much. I would say entirety.
Okay, okay, good stuff, good stuff. All right, so we have two more segments, and then we're going to get out of here. So this next segment is what I like to call good medicine. Okay, in this segment of good medicine, what I ask you to do is prescribe something to those who are watching and listening
Mm-hmm.
that will be good for them, and you know that because it was good for you. So your good medicine was heartfulness meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for someone who is listening right now, overwhelmed, stressed, maybe even disconnected, what does that look like in a practical everyday way, and why should they practice that heartfulness meditation?
Gotcha. So what that looks like is first getting the app. Highly recommend if you can't get the app, it's also you can find the courses and classes and meditation styles on YouTube University. But it looks like getting that app, going to core practices, and literally clicking relaxation, then meditation. Why I say relaxation, then meditation? Because prior to actually getting in the meditative state, you want the body fully relaxed. You want to relax as much as possible. That helps you get into a meditative state way, way quicker. I think some people try to like jump straight into just meditating. They've been running all day with the kids and everything, and they think that hey, if I just sit down and just start meditating, then my brain will stop running. And that's often what keeps people from further pursuing meditation or feeling like meditation doesn't work. So get that, find that space, dedicate. It could be a closet. I have a closet that I actually meditate in. I have a prayer, I call it my prayer closet and everything, like the whole nine. But it could just be a small corner in your house. It could be your car, to be honest. If that's the quietest place that you can be in before entering your house, I recommend the car. But you'll get on that app, you'll go to those core practices, you'll relax, just zen out, zen all the way till you just feel relaxed. Even if it's just sitting in silence to prepare your mind for meditation and then going into meditation for sure. And then I believe you said the next one was why.
Yeah, why do they need to meditate, right?
Hmm.
Why
You
do
want
we,
to,
not they, why do we
right.
need to meditate?
We need to meditate because we oftentimes don't give ourselves time. We don't sit with ourselves. We
Mm,
don't sit in silence often. Um, and it's you owe it to yourself. You deserve those 5 to however long you're able to do it. You deserve
mhm.
that time to yourself. You give so much to everybody else. We know as a culture we give so much to our loved
Yeah,
ones, and
yeah,
it's like you have to give that to yourself too. So
that's good. You,
yeah.
you deserve, you deserve to be aligned. You
Hmm.
deserve to be stress free.
You
You
do.
deserve to be at peace.
You do.
That is so important. I listen to Market Mondays, right? It's financial, and one of the
Mhm.
things that one of the guys always says is, one of the affirmations is you deserve to be rich,
Yeah.
right? But you
Yeah.
deserve to be relaxed,
You do.
right? One thing I am guilty of, I struggle at relaxing. All I
Hmm.
know is go,
Hmm.
and I feel guilty when I stop, which is
Hmm.
absolutely crazy because there is such a thing as rest, and the Sabbath exists for
Right.
us. So you
Right.
deserve to be relaxed. You deserve to be well rested. You deserve to have regular blood pressure. You deserve to be at ease. You deserve to have healthy food,
You
right? You
deserve. We
deserve
deserve.
all of those good things. Man, that was some great, good medicine. I have been helped so much. This is why, listen, I get more help than anybody as the host of the podcast
Yeah,
because
you
I
know a
get to
great way
interview.
for sure.
I get to interview all these great people. I learn so much. Okay, Megan, DJ, Purple Smoke, Patterson. This brings us to the very last segment in this podcast. And this segment is called, I can't find it on my screen. This is what it's called.
Didn't ask.
It's called You Didn't Ask. So, what we do in this segment is we give those who are listening and watching advice. They didn't ask for this, but
Hmm.
we are going to give it to them anyway So what do you have for you didn't ask?
So, see, what do I have for you? You didn't ask. What do I? This is a new day, so let's bring some new thoughts into the situation. You didn't ask. Something that I would leave you guys with is choose better. Honestly, choose better for yourself. Like I said, this world is so much going on. It's so much going on, and if we don't, regulate ourselves, we're going to be part of the madness. If we don't regulate ourselves, we're going to, pass those things on as far as uh, maybe over analyzing, being overwhelmed, being in a place of just being able to complain because we're so stressed out. And during this time, it's really, really important for us to take care of ourselves. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Um, I always say start with the heart, but take care of yourself. Take care of yourself.
That is advice you didn't ask for, but we gave it to you anyway. I got it scrolling along the bottom of the screen. Choose better.
Mhm.
Choose better. And let me see. I pulled this up on my phone. Here it is right here. See if y'all can see that on the camera. Is that it
Yes,
right there?
that's the one. That's the one.
There it is. That's the Heartfulness app. You need to make sure you get that Heartfulness app. All right, everybody, listen. Before you dip out, here's what I need you to do: hit like, subscribe, smash that bell so you never miss an episode. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, give us that 5-star rating and a quick review. It helps us grow the network community. Follow us on IG at Podcasts with Prejean and check the show notes. We'll give you the good medicine and the advice you didn't ask for, but we gave it to you anyway. Choose better. Listen, everybody, this is the network, your spot for elevating mind, body, spirit, and finances as we navigate this thing called life together. I am Michael Prejean for DJ Purple Smoke. Megan Patterson is her government name. Second Saturdays, you can find her at the Clay Family Eastern Glades. It's on my calendar. You need to put it on your calendar. And until next time, I need y'all to do one thing and one thing only, and that's make love the culture.